Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Netflix employees are the working class. We are true workers and we're LARPing. We are the working class. When union movements and songs 100 years ago were commenced, they were all talking about us. When Marx and Engels wrote the Communist Manifesto, they were actually talking about graduate students, and they were referring to people like me, who are a bunch of coddled parasites. When we get hired by a lousy boss, we complain and bitch even though we can't do none. We're not workers ourselves, but we have to get hired still because we have to work for a boss. We are mediocre. We are soy boy betas. We have to work for a boss because we can't do anything ourselves. Unlike America's working class, we elevate ourselves with our minds. Creative labor and mental labor is the true working class.
Red Rising Star donated $3. These people think unions are always revolutionary, but didn't Fanon point out in imperialized countries unions were often in line with the interests of the imperialist-controlled industries? Ideologically, these people
Thank you, Red Rising. I appreciate you. Listen, guys. During the great labor battles of 100 years ago, they were actually talking about pink hair, blue hair, coddled parasites. Let's go, everyone! Hipsters are the real workers. Hipsters are the real workers. You wanna know about the working class? Go to a Google HQ. I work for Facebook. I work for Facebook. I am a real worker. We are the working class. Solidarity! Solidarity! Alright, guys, I have another song. Ready? Ready? I have a song. I have another song. I have another song up my sleeve. Ready? Okay, I'm gonna sing it. Ready? I dreamed I saw AOC last, alive and ready with glee. She said the workers of Google and all are the true working class. The Democrats and all above are fighting in solidarity as the true working class of history aligns together now. Aligns together now. When Dave Chappelle released a special that hurt all of our feelings, that was exactly like coal miners who were fighting for livable working conditions in which they would not get diseases and die. The workers of the past who were struggling for dignity are exactly like the cry-bullies who are whining and crying and bitching that Dave Chappelle hurt their feelings. That Dave Chappelle hurt their feelings. Now, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go! Bread tube forever! The workers on strike! Down with Dave Chappelle! White leftists unite, and we know what's best for all the black people in America. Dave Chappelle is actually white. Dave Chappelle is I don't know how the rest of it goes. Alright, hold on, let me think of more. Ready? Let me think of more.
Based.
Alright, let's do it. Arise, all the Netflix workers and all the people on office chairs. Arise, the people working with their pinkies and have the pinkest hands. All the graduate students studiously writing dog shit papers,
Clownfist
and
donated
all the
Hello, Mr.
Netflix
Ross.
creative workers who are making
Netflix purple hair, real working
cuties
class.
too.
Let's go working class.
Come
Dave Chappelle, what are you doing,
together, the nerds of Silicon Valley, the Google workers and at Facebook are the heirs of the working class. The proletariat actually have blue hair and big glasses. SJW, arise into the air. The red fascist infrared wants to divide the true working class. But we will not let him do it. Google are at the vanguard. We are rising and fighting, but we are mostly obese. We're getting there more slowly. We are hipsters in peace. We are the same as the workers from 100 years ago. They all agree with me that my dad is an asshole. My mom and dad all are reactionary. I am rebelling against them. You will not assume things such as the color of my hair, and I won't let you take down the struggles of the true working class. Dave Chappelle is pretty much the same as a child labor sweatshop owner from 200 years ago. Dave Chappelle is the modern day robber barons of the age. He hurt all of our feelings, and that's the exact same thing as the union struggles of the past. We're gonna fight the capitalist Dave Chappelle, guys. The workers are gonna win. The capitalist Dave Chappelle won't win, guys. The workers are gonna win. Okay? I am a worker. Come on, guys. I am a worker. Just do it with me, guys. Just do it with me. Get up out of your chair. We're not gonna take this red fashion. I am a worker. Okay? I'm a working class. Me. It's about me. Marx was writing about me because I don't own the company I work at. And because I don't own it, I'm a worker. And that makes me what Marx was talking about. I am a worker. You know what? It's time for Antifa. It's time for some Antifa.
Base.
I am the worker.
Hasanoids BTFO.
Me. Did Dave Chappelle just say something I don't agree with? Just like the working class union guys in the past who were fighting against the capitalist bosses. I am the working class, okay? I'm Antifa, huh? Let me get into Antifa. I'm Antifa, okay? Don't mess with me.
Jonah Phony donated $20.36. Ostrom and Ferrem will revive the American folk tradition.
Antifa! The workers! I am the working class! We're gonna do this! We're not gonna stop! We're not gonna stop at Netflix! We're gonna create the Netflix Hill Autonomous Zone! Workers Unite! Indigenous People! BIPOC! Workers! I am the working class! While you sit on your computer, I'm out here doing real revolution. Oh, sorry. I'm really obese. Don't be fat phobic. Don't be fat phobic. There's no fat phobia allowed. No fat phobia allowed. Stop it. Stop it. I have many vegan McChickens. And if you take them away, it's oppression. Workers! Workers! Hell, the workers! Come on! We can do it! Oh! Okay. Ready? We're gonna do a single charge, and the working class is striking, and we're gonna defeat the bosses! Down with capitalism! Down with capitalism! Okay. Ready? 1 second. Okay. 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 One last time. One last time. Antifa. 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 Tumblr. Twitter. Indigenous BIPOC. BIPOC. Okay. Ready? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Okay, one more time. One more time. Okay. 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 Listen, you fucking shitlord. Haas is gone. Haas is gone, okay? I managed to infiltrate the red fascist tanky known as Haas from Infrared. I infiltrated his apartment, and he's gone, okay? And VGG, Vaush, if you guys are watching, Antifa is in control. Antifa is in control, okay? We're in control of the infrared stream now. And we're about to change the curriculum. We are going to change the curriculum, okay? First things first. All workers are valid. You're trying to divide workers between actual workers and salaried professionals that I just decided to call workers, okay? They are all valid, okay? The working class is pretty much a cultural identity, and I identify as a worker. And if, I identify as a worker, and my identity is valid, okay? And solidarity, I have so much excitement and solidarity for all of the Netflix workers who are out there striking for better conditions against the billion-dollar capitalist bosses at Netflix, and I hope they turn Netflix into a worker cooperative where blue-haired, bird-brained, pink-haired dumbasses will have all the creative control. Now, I am not a racist. But I've noticed that the most popular shows on Netflix are coming from South Korea and Spain, okay? And they're just not as enlightened as us Americans, okay? You know, all these South Korean shows, they don't give a shit about the struggle of marginalized communities and BIPOC and queer folk, and none of their shows seem to be about that, okay? And, you know, those people in South Korea, look, I am going to take the woke man's burden. I'm sorry, not man. Excuse me, I didn't preface my pronouns, excuse me. The woke burden of going to South Korea and teaching them the ways of indigenous queer liberation theory and anarcho-Bidenism and streamers like Vaush, because as Vaush said, South Korea is a very conservative country. They are not as enlightened as we are. We are more progressive. We're better than they are, pretty much. I'm not racist, okay? I believe in, you know what? Nobody talks about the indigenous people in Korea, and South Koreans are settler colonialists upon the indigenous people like me. And I'm indigenous because, you know, my grandpa fought in the Korean War, and we were fighting the red fash North Koreans, and, you know, they were red fascists, okay? We had no choice. Anyway, sorry. I do that sometimes. Anyway, now that we've turned Netflix into a workers' cooperative, and we've socialized the means of production, so the workers own it now and not the bosses, we're gonna make some changes around here, okay? First change that's going on is no more South Korean shows. Yeah, that's right. Until those South Koreans learn to be as woke as us, we're not gonna let these foreigners make our content on Netflix anymore. Matter of fact, I think we're gonna build a wall around Netflix so only the woke people, like us Americans, will be able to make content. And matter of fact, look, I'm not racist, but Dave Chappelle, for some odd reason, he's just not enlightened like I am, okay? Dave Chappelle, and yeah, I'm just telling you what's a pattern like that. That infrared guy, that Haas guy, that red fascist, you know, maybe if he came from a more repentant cultural background and not from the deserts of the Middle East, maybe that guy of infrared, he comes from a very toxic, conservative, fash culture. Maybe if he was raised in a more repentant culture like me, he would have the empathy to understand that he shouldn't be. Look, I'm not racist, guys. I'm not racist. I'm talking about infrared, okay? Infrared's a red fash, and he's a Nazi, okay? I mean, guys, I'm 2% indigenous, okay? Stop. I'm not a racist. Okay, infrared's the bad guy here, not me. Okay? Anyway, that Dave Chappelle guy, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like, I don't know. He's just really not sensitive, and he's punching down at me, and I'm the real victim here. And, Dave Chappelle, he needs to check his privilege. He really needs to check his privilege, okay? And so, look, hear me out. It's not racist, just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. I was considering that we're only gonna have comedy specials on Netflix by indigenous white queer folk. Okay, listen, I know it sounds bad, but look, Dave Chappelle, he proved that we have a long way to go to educate these other people, like the infrared Haas guy. He comes from a foreign culture, into our woke ways. And until they do that, Look, okay, look. So here's what's on the itinerary. We are going to build a wall around Netflix. No more South Korean shows. No more shows from Spain. They're not woke enough. They are not progressive enough. They're too conservative. And then now, when it comes to the comedy specials, look, okay, look, you're a bitch. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It just happens. Did I break this fucking? Okay. Sorry, it just happens. Okay, it just happens. Don't you dare talk about. Look. I know how it sounds. Okay, but for now, we're only gonna have indigenous white queer folk. Okay, and the reason why we're only gonna hire white people now is because not because we like white people. I hate white people. I'm white and I hate. I have so much white guilt. Okay, but the reason why I think we need to only have white people on Netflix right now is, well, what? Listen, white people are just more self-aware and repentant of their own evil, and people like Infrared Haas, that guy, because he comes from a barbaric culture. I mean, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's not what I'm not a racist, okay? But because of that, he doesn't have as much guilt or repentance that I do. And because I'm more guilty and repentant, I'm actually better than everyone else. Okay? And Dave Chappelle, what is he guilty of? He's not guilty of anything. You know? He's not guilty. So, and look, we need to put... Okay, look. We're going to put a temporary shutdown on Muslims from coming to Netflix until we can figure out what's going on. Okay? Look. The workers are taking over Netflix. This is what's got to happen, okay? Look, okay, so let's go down the list of the itinerary. Some of the things that are on the itinerary. Ready? First thing, we're gonna build a wall around Netflix. No more foreigners who are not woke and American enough. I mean, I hate America, but they're just not. They're not progressive enough. Okay. South Korea, no more. That's it. Squid Game, no. There were no queer people in Squid Game. Do you ever notice that? There were no queer people in Squid Game. You ever notice that? Anyway, we're not letting them make our movies anymore. And another thing is the second thing is that we're only gonna have white people do comedy specials now. Okay, it sounds racist, but it's only a temporary measure because we're gonna educate. We're gonna take on the woke man's burden of the woke folks' burden of educating the other people, and finally, and this is the last thing, is that we need to put a shutdown on Muslim Twitch streamers until we can figure out what's going on, because they're red fash and we don't know what's going on. Okay, so one. Hey, doesn't that sound like Trump? And what? Who's the fax that just compared me to Trump? What about me's like Trump? All I said was I want to build a wall around Netflix, and that we need to shut down Muslims like Haas till we figure out what's going on. Who? Excuse me? You know what? Okay, before I go. Okay, we have another few things on the itinerary, okay? Because we can't stop here, okay? We are Netflix, and we're also demanding land back. And in the land back, we demand that Netflix gives all of America back to the indigenous people, or else. And that's right. And if you don't, I'm going to stare at you just like this. If you don't do the land back, I'm going to stare at you just like this. Okay? Ready? Gonna give it back yet? I can do this all day. I can do this all day. All right, one sec. Hello? What? What's going on? Hold on, wait. You're saying that in Dearborn, Michigan, the Arabs have traditional gender roles? And they believe in traditional, patriarchal, oppressive, heteronormative roles? I'll be right there. All right, guys. Apparently, the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan are not woke enough. And we're Antifa. We fight fascists, we fight white supremacists, and we fight bigots who are xenophobic. And look, we're going to pay a visit to the mosque, and we're going to tell those people at the mosque that they better change their ways or else. Because now, I don't know what desert they came from, but now that they're in my country, they're going to have to learn to adjust, okay?